Welcome back to Whispers of the Womb. In today's episode, we're diving deep into the world of holistic therapies with our special guest, Kalli Pasqualucci from This Little Yogini in the UK. Kalli is not only a yoga teacher, but also a sound healer and meditation enthusiast with a special focus on the womb and hormonal health. Tune in as she shares her journey and expertise in the gentle yoga, Yin Yoga, and the transformative power of sound healing. Get ready to relax and rejuvenate as we explore these soothing practices together. So welcome everybody. I'm delighted to welcome Kalli here today on this episode of Whispers of the Womb. So over to you, Kalli. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do.
Hi, Suzanne. Thank you so much for having me. So I am a yoga teacher and I am also a sound healer, and I am currently studying meditation and somatic training as well. So I'm very much influenced by the womb, actually, which I feel is really appropriate for this podcast. So our hormones and how we can use different kind of holistic therapies to support ourselves.
That's great. So what do you actually teach? What kind of practices do you teach? Are they all in person or online? Do you teach a bit of both?
So I teach primarily in-person classes. They have grown over the last little while, which is fantastic because I love to be able to help people. So I trained in hatha yoga, so very gentle, very slow yoga, which is perfect for beginners, which is my main focus. And I also have recently trained in Yin Yoga, which is beautiful and peaceful, and I love it. And then and the sound healing is starting to be created, so hopefully that'll be coming up soon. But I've started to do some retreats and events as well, which is really lovely to be able to share slightly longer time periods with people.
It is amazing how quickly an hour or 45 minutes goes by, isn't it? When you're really getting into it, especially with yin and that. So just for the listeners, I'd love for you to explain for anyone, I'm a novice as well. So for anyone else listening who wants to know more about what is sound healing, and can you just give us a little bit of an overview of what you did in your training and how you're taking that through into your practice going forward?
Yeah, of course. So growing up, I was very musical. I can't read music, but I listen and I can play based on what I'm hearing. I was a singer. I love music. It's all very much part of my being. And a few years ago, I stumbled across this well, to me, new practice of sound healing. I was asked to be a guinea pig for someone who was doing their training, and it was 10 weeks of training that we had to go to their house every week and do this sound journey together. And the things that it revealed in myself and the things that it opened within me was just so beautiful and so magical. And besides, so most people go to sound healing for the relaxation, because what it does is, obviously we're all made up of energy, and what the bowls do, because they're crystalline and they're very pure sound, they bring our energy back into balance, is the kind of in a nutshell. um and I found that part of the experience within myself. I found myself coming back to the true me. And so yeah, it was a beautiful journey. It released a lot of shadow things that I was dealing with at the time. It gave me confidence again. So it drops you into a state of deep relaxation, like deeper than meditation. It's the theta and the delta brainwaves, if that's of interest to anyone. I know it can be a bit tricky to understand, but it's this very deep sense of relaxation, or to the point of deep sleep. And And so yeah, it's a lot of people just get relaxation out of it, and that's enough. Obviously, anything that you get out of any practice is enough. But some people do go a little bit deeper depending on where they are on their journey. And so yeah, I love being able to support people and just finding those moments of relaxation and rest.
That's quite fascinating, and it kind of takes me back to my training when I did Reiki training. So I'm a Reiki master, and it's all very similar to that, isn't it? The vibration and that kind of, it's like a reboot for your soul, I would say. People used to say to me, "How do you explain Reiki to people?" Because I'm a reflexologist as well. So I used to kind of say, well, for me, reflexology is like a deep relaxation for your whole body through your feet, whereas Reiki is a deep relaxation for your soul through your energy. And when you've just beautifully put that there with the sound, it kind of resonates that same kind of deep healing where you're really going really deep.
Yeah, absolutely. So I did my Reiki one last year, actually.
Hey,
Uh, so I don't know if I'll go any further within it. It was very much a personal thing that I felt like I needed to be able to protect my own energy and keep
yeah,
my energy working in my body. And so yeah, I loved it. I loved the experience. I love Reiki, and I think once you start, I said it recently actually in class. One of the yoga girls was like, why is this rabbit hole just opened? And I was like, welcome to yoga. Um, and I feel like that's it. Like once you start on this journey, you just start to, it's like Alice in Wonderland, isn't it? You fall down this beautiful rabbit hole into this beautiful garden of things that you didn't know were there. And that's,
yeah.
yeah, so special.
And it's like, and it has a knock-on effect as well, doesn't it? I think people don't realize how vast yoga actually is. And I think for me, my journey did actually start with reflexology, and then it moved to Reiki, and then it moved to yoga, and then all of a sudden everything just sort of connected, and it was like that light bulb moment where it was like, wow, all of these things are interconnecting and they're so beautiful in their own entirety. But once you start merging them into your lifestyle, living life off the mat in yoga, yeah, that's lovely. And so, do you do like in person practices with your sound healing? Because it probably would be quite difficult doing that online, or have you tried doing that online?
So that you can do it online. I've never tried it because I really find that I connect with, because I've done so much sound healing in my own capacity with other people. I feel like I can listen to something on Spotify and I will drop into that deep state.
Yeah.
But I was talking to someone the other day, and she's really interested, one of my students, and she's really interested in doing sound healing, but she said she didn't feel that when she was listening on Spotify. And so I almost think that you need that in person just to kind of unlock, and it might not be everybody. It might just be that you have to have, some people have to have that in person experience. But they do say that sound travels up to a third of a mile, sound healing rather. um and it is very much, you can receive the benefits over online, but
Hmm.
maybe not the full benefits of the experience.
Hmm.
So yeah, so in person, I do a self-care afternoon, um, and that is yoga, sound healing, and mindfulness and relaxation. And I had the lovely lady who I did her sound healing training with. She was doing my sound baths for me, which has been so special. And the last one, she couldn't be there at the end, which is when we usually do the sound healing. And I almost felt like we needed that to kind of end the practice. So at the end, I played for 15 minutes, which was really lovely because it was the first time that I'd really done it in a big group.
In a big group, yeah. That sounds
Yeah.
amazing. And so, just for the listeners, it's bowls, isn't it? It's like glass bowls, which for anyone that's watching, they are behind Kalli in the photograph, in the video here. So are they made? Are they crystal or are they glass? The crystal, yeah.
Yeah. So they these are quartz bowls
Wow.
made with clear quartz. Yeah, and there's different ones. So some of them are mixed with other crystals, which obviously changes the sound, it changes the intention, the feeling. They are very expensive, those ones. But yeah, these ones, the quartz ones are just beautiful. They're magical. And I was telling someone, and this totally, when I told them, I was like, I know this sounds very woo-woo, but it happened and it was real. And I had a class that was really, really quiet, as in I didn't have a lot of bookings for it. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I should just cancel the class. I don't need, like, I need guidance on this. I don't know. So the lady I did training with, she was like, you can ask the bowls things and they'll kind of, they clear chords, they'll clear the
They'll
mind,
tell you,
they'll
yeah.
answer your questions. So I thought, oh, this is going to be so weird. It's not going to work. So anyway, I started playing and I was like, oh, should I cancel the class? And then with that, I heard a notification on my phone, and it was the notification from my booking app. And I was like, oh my goodness, what just happened? So I finished playing and I got up and I had bookings for that class.
Wow.
And
I
I was like,
love that.
okay, clearly I'm not supposed to cancel that class. Yeah, so it's just, yeah, they are, and also just emotions, like they just connect you and just rebalance you, and you can put intentions into them. So whenever I'm playing, I always send out the intention of love and peace and relaxation, and people have said they felt it, so that's
That's what's
beautiful.
important, yeah. I
Yeah.
know you've just reminded me, I use the dowsing crystals to ask questions. And I
Yeah.
did a training, actually, I'm going to do this training online eventually. But I did do an in-person training and I had about 8 people on the course and everyone was just absolutely astounded by what the dowsing crystal can do. And they were just like, they just wanted to play all the time with the crystals. It was really good. And you've also just reminded me that I did do a class, a practice many years ago. Now he used like little, it must have been like the bronze balls. And I remember he came around the room and we were all lying on our fronts and he put the bronze balls on our like lower backs. And I actually felt like I'd had drugs.
Wow.
It was so powerful. It was like I'd come out of an anesthetic.
Yeah. It's
Mhm.
insane. Like the bowls, I've had an experience. The lady I trained with, I very much have to feel whether I'm connected with someone before I do training with them. And so she was at one of the big yoga shows in London, doing a sound healing journey. And I thought that's a really good way of finding out if we connect. And so I went along with one of my friends, and I've never, and I've done a lot of sound healing, I've never felt like that before. And it literally, as you say, like I felt like I was on another planet. I was having like really vivid, I could see really vivid things in my mind while I was lying there. And I came out and I couldn't talk.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
was like, I was like, I'm blah, 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 blah. And she was like looking at me like I was crazy. And I was, and eventually I came around and I went, I just wanted to say thank you. Like, that was what I was trying to say.
But I was with a friend and I was driving home and we had to go for a coffee in the coffee shop next door because I was like, there's no way can I drive. I felt drunk.
Yeah.
I felt like from the sound bowls.
Yeah. So we as part of our training, it was really important for us to learn how to ground at
Right.
the end. Um, as I'm sure anyone who's kind of done any spiritual stuff, any kind of slightly woo-woo, as I like to say, any slightly woo-woo stuff. It's just bringing your energy back into your body. And so the one day we didn't ground, and we all were just spacey. We were just like all over the show. And it was actually quite lovely to feel what it feels like when you don't ground, because it's such a good life lesson to go, okay, I actually have to make sure that everyone's grounded. And so when I do any kind of, even if I do relaxation at the end, because you're going into a state of meditation in a way, I always am like, is everybody grounded? Everyone's back in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't, like, and I find that with the bowls, if I don't ground myself at the end, I'm very much
it's quite a nice place to be sometimes though, isn't it? Just for a little bit.
I do like being there, but and I think it's a little bit addictive in a way, because it's such a lovely, it's just that feeling of ultimate love, isn't it? It's just beautiful.
Yeah,
and I feel
nothing
like
matters. Nothing matters. Everything's just calm. And
absolutely, I just think if the world had more crystal bowls, they would be happier.
and yoga and meditation and everything woo woo.
Absolutely, everything woo woo, the world would be a much happier place.
Have you heard about Alchemy for Hormones? It's my amazing free immersion experience that's all about empowering you on your journey to hormonal balance and holistic wellness. Let me tell you, it's been a game changer for me. I've personally experienced the incredible healing power of sound on my own womb to wellness journey, which I will share with you. In this free 5-day immersion, we dive into breathwork, water therapy, essential oils, meditation, and so much more. It's all about finding that balance and harmony within yourself. So what are you waiting for? Join me and let's embark on this transformative journey together. Sign up for Alchemy for Hormones and start your path to radiant health today. Link is in the showcase notes. But now let's get back to Kalli. So you started your journey actually the same year that I did, in 2008.
Oh, wow.
And I noticed on your website you went to a prenatal yoga class, didn't you? And actually I went to yoga. I had severe back pain, but it was due to my endometriosis, or similar, not similar, but you know what I mean, kind of like about the womb and about the, you know, that area. And that changed your life, didn't it, from going to that practice?
Absolutely.
What do you think it was that got you hooked at that time?
Do you know what? My pregnancy was quite difficult at the time. It was an unplanned pregnancy. I was very young. And I think I felt like I was just thrown into the deep end, and I didn't really know what I was doing or what to expect. And I remember not having very much money at the time. And I don't know why, but I noticed this advert for the prenatal yoga class. And I went along thinking, okay, well, it's just one class. I'll try it out. I'll probably won't be able to go back, and that's fine. Like, it'll be lovely while it lasts. And I went in and I just felt like I was home. Everything just fell into place. And funnily enough, and I love this story, when I was a little girl, I think I was about 10 years old, I found a book on yoga on my parents' bookshelf. My parents weren't into yoga, so it was really weird. And I found this book on their bookshelf about yoga, and it was really old, and I'm still trying to find it because I'd love to read it again now. And it was intense, because obviously, like, yoga, some of the philosophy and cleansing practices are pretty intense. But I remember reading it as a 10-year-old and just being like, wow, that's fascinating. Like, I just loved it. And so then when I started the prenatal, I just fell in love with it. My teacher was just the most, I think she's an angel on earth. Like, she's just the loveliest person I've ever met. And it really, really helped me in my pregnancy. And I remember thinking at the time, because it was a studio and it was just the loveliest studio, they had a little cafe and a little gift shop, and it was just a lovely vibe when you walked in. And I remember thinking, yeah, that's what I want to do. Like, that's what I want to do when I grow up. and,
Oh, I
and
love that. How old
yeah,
were you when you were pregnant?
21.
21. It is young though, isn't it, to have a baby? Well, I think it is anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. It was, and it was. Yeah, I just remember thinking, I've just finished my course at university, which is what I thought I wanted to do when I was an adult. And yeah, no, I don't think I want to do that anymore. And then it took me so many years, and I think it was a lot of, and I've said this so many times, it was a lot of, I don't fit the mold of a yoga teacher. I'm not very slim, and I'm not very bendy, and yeah, and I'm not a yoga teacher, so I can't do it. And it was a case of, yeah, it was during the pandemic when I spent a lot of kind of time reflecting and just going, actually, what do I really want? And yoga came up again, and I was like, that's it. That's what I want.
And that was like what, 12 years later, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
It's a
always
lot.
in the back, wasn't it? From the age of 10, it was always there, chipping away, chipping away.
It was like, we'll get you back. You're gonna come back. Yeah, and it's been the best experience. Like, obviously hard.
Yeah.
It's been tricky, and there's been moments where I've gone, what am I doing? Like, just go back to my other job, and because that was easier income, and it was just, it was done. But I don't get the same fulfillment from anything else as I do from teaching yoga.
And like you said there, you didn't fit the mold. I don't think I fit the mold either. But then isn't that great? Because there's all those other people out there who need the exact kind of yoga teacher that doesn't fit the mold. I can't stand on my head. I don't particularly want to. And that's good because we are the right teachers for those type of people. And I think what you said earlier as well about that imposter syndrome kicking in, like, I can't teach yoga because I can't do all of the poses. But that's the point, really. Nobody ever really can.
No,
That's the
exactly.
whole point of yoga, isn't it? You're constantly practicing. That's why it's called practice.
Yeah.
And so did you learn online as well?
No, so I did. So I originally signed up for a course through a company in London that then went bankrupt with all my money.
Oh, you poor thing.
Yeah, it was a bit horrible. But do you know what? It's I do believe that things happen for a reason, and yeah, I'm so grateful for. Obviously, horrible to lose money. But I am so grateful for the experience because it's just changed me as a person. And I was very fortunate to the lady who then offered my training to me, because it was in person. It was with the most amazing group of yoginis. Um, and yeah, I learned so much, and I am forever grateful because if I hadn't had those experiences, I wouldn't have been the same yoga teacher that I am today.
Yeah, and if that company hadn't have gone bankrupt, you wouldn't have gone down that path. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, things happen for a reason. So I actually had to the course was in North London. It's, well, not North London, it's outside of the M25, but that kind of way. And so yeah, so we used to have to drive up once a month or twice a month. I used to take my family with me. We'd go on a little road trip and we'd stay in a hotel for Friday and Saturday, and I would do training and they would go and explore the area.
Yay. It was funny because it's just taken me back. So my yoga teacher, who was amazing, and she was all into the philosophy of yoga. She'd done her teacher training in India. She'd gone traveling all over the world. So she had loads of different examples of like authentic yoga, like to bring into all of her kind of teachings. And she taught in this little village, and I used to drive up 4-5 times a week. It was like a 30-minute drive one way. I was so dedicated, loved it, and then she moved away. And weirdly, I then kind of took my practice somewhere else, didn't really think about it. And then when I was looking for a new home, a house came up in that village where I went for yoga. I bought it, did it all up, which is the house I'm in now. And then before COVID, I started to teach in the centre where she had taught. And I remember, I'll never forget that first class. It felt so surreal to be on the other side of the yoga mat. And it was almost like I'm home. I feel like, wow, this was where I was always meant to be.
That's so beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
It is. I almost feel like, so I am hoping to do pregnancy yoga training this year, because I almost feel like it needs to be that full circle.
Yeah.
It doesn't end there, but I'm very much drawn to supporting. So I do have men in my classes, which I absolutely love, because I think it's so beautiful that they feel safe in my classes.
Yeah.
And so, but I do have a lot of ladies, and I would love to be able to support them on a more kind of hormonal journey, because I feel like it's hard being a lady.
It is. It is. And that's why we're here, aren't we? To support those ladies who are struggling, whether that be with, the mindset or learning how to relax, because it is difficult learning how to relax.
It's really tricky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm I'm busy toying with either menopause yoga or pregnancy. Somehow hormone connected, somehow womb connected.
Well, it's been absolutely delightful having you here today, Kalli. So is there anything else profound or that you would just like to share with the listeners as we wrap up this episode?
Thank you so much for having me again. My favorite thing at the moment, and it's an affirmation that I keep saying in class because I just feel like people need to hear it, and that is, you are enough just as you are. You are perfectly you, and there is nobody else in the world that you need to be except yourself. So
I love that. That's absolutely 100% correct. Well, thank you so much, Kalli. It's been a delight to have you here.
thank you for having me.
You're very welcome.
As we wrap up today's episode, Kalli and I hope you feel inspired to explore the gentle practices of yoga, the transformative power of sound healing, and the holistic approach to wellness. Remember, your journey to balance and harmony starts within. Join us next time for a guided meditation, Womb of Sound, a guided meditation for healing and serenity, where we delve deeply into the power of sound and the knowledge that you carry the healing power of sound within you always. In the meantime, check out our meditation in episode 33 of this podcast, Silent Reverberations, Voice of the Feminine, a powerful meditation for power, stability and strength. Or visit our YouTube channel, Wellness to Womb, for gentle practices of yoga and more meditations. Until then, may you find peace and serenity in every breath.